Are you in a season that feels like a wrestling match? Could it be that God's trying to wrestle some of you out of you? Let's talk about it on this Monday morning. Jacob is one of the main patriarchs of our faith. God is often described as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But Jacob's name actually means trickster, and his story proves this is true of him from the time of his conception until even his later years. Jacob tricked his brother out of his birthright. He tricked his father out of his brother's blessing. I mean, he was an ornery cuss. You would not have wanted him for a brother. But that is his story. And then comes the moment that he finds out his brother is headed towards him after years of being apart. And Jacob is afraid his past of being a trickster has finally caught up with him. Genesis 32 describes his emotions this way. In verse 7, it says Jacob was scared, very scared, panicked. He divided his people, his sheep, his cattle, and camels into two camps. He thought if Esau comes on the first camp and attacks it, the other camp has a chance to get away. But then Jacob prayed. Jacob was scared. He had done some very cunning, ruthless things to his brother, but finally he prayed. You know, a lot of us don't ever get to the finally he prayed part of the panicked part. We just kind of sit in the panic, sit in the fear, and we're kind of held captive to that fear. And we never really stop to ask God what he has to say. But Jacob prayed, and it's almost like Jacob got this God idea because it says he sent his family away and his cattle and everything that he owned, he sent ahead of him. And then it says that he went to a separate place. And it was there that the angel of the Lord, which I believe was actually Jesus, who was coming in the form of an angel, wrestled with Jacob. Jacob was in a wrestling match to change Jacob. Because sometimes what needs to change is us. Our thoughts, our heart, our bitterness, our arrogance. So many times what God is trying to work out in those challenging seasons of life is our flesh out of us to make us more like him. And Jacob was ready. How do we know he was ready? Because he said this to the angel of the Lord. He said, I will not go. I will not let go of you until you bless me. And it said they wrestled until dawn. And finally, the angel decided he would bless Jacob, and he changed his name to Israel. And that's where Israel was birthed, from this wrestling match between a man and his God. Friends, don't fear the moments when God wants to wrestle with you, because there's no telling what he's wanting to birth in that journey. A nation was birthed from this moment of wrestling. And it says that he touched his hip. He touched the largest socket in Jacob's body, and he forever walked with a limp after that. Friends, when we wrestle with God, it will fundamentally change us. And we will never be the same. And neither will our destiny. Don't run from the wrestling match with God. Because what he wants to do in you may change you and the generations coming after you forever.